come back very, very strong this time around. Here's Des.
So the 4 runners now for the Dr. P.J Moriarty Novice Chase make their way now towards the first, with Last Instalment going on to lead by just over 3 lengths to Lambro, with Call the Police next, just on the outside of Shot from the Hip. So they're over the first and making their way on to number 2, which is the first of the ditches, and Last Instalment has stretched on now, opening up a lead of 4 to 5 over Lambro, who's being followed by Shot from the Hip and Call the Police as the quartet now face up to fence number 2. And this is the first ditch. Last Instalment, Davy Russell in the lead from Lambro in second. In third place, Shot from the Hip with Call the Police alongside. So they're turning now to swing across towards fence number 3, bringing them on the approach towards the straight. And the leader is Last Instalment from Lambro second, Call the Police, followed by Shot from the Hip. On they come now to number 3. Last Instalment, Lambro, Call the Police, and Shot from the Hip. Approaching the turn in now to face up to the 4th fence, and rounding the turn, Last Instalment's out in front of Lambro with Call the Police and Shot from the Hip just in behind as they come round the bend and face up now to the 4th to bring them up in front of the stands. And Last Instalment and Davy Russell leads, Lambro and Ruby Walsh second, then Call the Police, Paul Townend on the outside of Shot from the Hip and Tony McCoy as they come now to number 4. Last Next Time. Up in front of the stands they come, and Last Instalment in the lead, followed by Lambro, Call the Police, and Shot from the Hip. They begin now to race up and pass in front of the judge with a complete circuit of the track ahead of them in the Dr. P.J Moriarty Novice Chase. And Last Instalment from Lambro. Lambro now just within 2 lengths of the leader as Last Instalment shows in front. In second place, Lambro, then Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as they head on into the turn and face up now to fences 5 and 6, taking them away from the stands. Last Instalment, followed by Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip. Going on now to number 5. Last Instalment in the lead, followed in second place Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as the quartet now race towards fence number 6, bringing them up now to the halfway stage. And it's Last Instalment in front, being followed by Lambro. In third place is Call the Police and Shot from the Hip, just the back marker of the 4. All safely over that one and now beginning to make the run to take them into the back straight where they'll face the first fence down the far side. 8 to jump, and Last Instalment swings into the back straight with a 3-length lead over Lambro with Call the Police on the outside, closely followed by Shot from the Hip. So they face now the first of the fences down the back. Last Instalment by 3. Lambro half a length in front of Call the Police and Shot from the Hip just a further 3 parts back. First of the fences down the back now. Last Instalment over in front of Lambro and Call the Police, followed by Shot from the Hip. They're continuing on now just towards the mile mark and 7 fences left to jump. Last Instalment continues to make it, tracked all the while by Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip. The 4 runners are now just covered by about 4 lengths as they go to this next fence down the far side. Last Instalment in the lead, Lambro is second. Then Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as they go now to the second last of the ditches. 6 fences left to jump, and it's Last Instalment in the lead from Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip, right across from the stands. Last Instalment over in front of Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as they continue now with 5 left to go. Last Instalment, Davy Russell continue in front, followed in second by Lambro. Then comes Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as they continue now with 4 left to jump. Last Instalment out 3 in front. Lambro followed by Call the Police and Shot from the Hip. They continue down the back straight. Last Instalment in the lead, over in front. Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip. Last of the ditches coming up now. This will be 3 from home. And Last Instalment in front, being followed by Lambro. Then comes Call the Police and Shot from the Hip. Going now to the last of the ditches, 3 from home. And Last Instalment is the leader at the third last fence. Last Instalment, Lambro, Call the Police on the outside, being tracked by Shot from the Hip. Swinging now to race across towards the second last. Last Instalment, Lambro, Call the Police and Shot from the Hip as they come now towards the second last fence. Last Instalment is the leader from Lambro. On the outside, Called the Police and Shot from the Hip. They're beginning the run now for the home turn. And Last Instalment, Called the Police on the outside. Lambro is pushed along. Shot from the Hip trying to improve on the inside. But off the turn now they come. One fence left to jump. Last Instalment in front. Called the Police coming there on the outside. Shot from the Hip and Lambro coming down now to the final fence. In the Dr. P.J Moriarty novice. Last Instalment, Called the Police on the near side, then Lambro and Shot from the Hip. They're inside the last 200. Last Instalment from Called the Police. Lambro on the outside, but Last Instalment is the leader. He's going to make every inch of it and continue his winning ways and wins it for Jiggins Townhouse. And Davy Russell, a fine performance by Philip Fenton's chaser, beats the pair of Willie Mullins' Called the Police, Lambro and Shot from the Hip.